Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, which is all about building business foundations into higher education. You're joining us today because you've shown interest in the Level 3 Diploma in Business and Management. This qualification, this program is all for those individuals that are aspiring to enhance their business acumen and also their leadership skills. We've got quite an insightful session for you today, and hopefully it will answer any questions that you may have. So today you're joined by myself, Martin Chandler. I'm the Chief Engagement Officer and Enrichment Officer here at Pathway Group. I'm also joined by Aisha Ali, our Programme Coordinator at Pathway Group, who will be talking to us about the Advanced Learner Loan provision. And we're also joined by Jay Phillips, who is the Key Account Manager at ATHE. Just in terms of today's agenda, we do feel it's going to be quite a short, sharp session, which hopefully gives you all the insights and information you need to make that decision on moving forward potentially with that Level 3 Diploma in Business and Management. So today I am joined, as I mentioned, by Jay Phillips. He's going to provide an introduction into ATHE as an organisation and also the work that they complete and also a little bit more about the qualifications. I will be showcasing the Level 3 Diploma in Business Management. I'll be telling you a bit about what it's made up of, what those components look like, what those progressions are, and also sharing some of the success stories that we've also had there. We're also joined with Aisha Ali. She's going to be explaining to us about the Advanced Learner Loans, how these facilitate the learning and education and opportunities for those that are 19 plus and living in England. So lots of details and information there. So to get things started, I wanted to invite Jay down to tell us a bit about himself, but also tell us a bit about ATHE as an organisation. So good afternoon, Jay. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a bit about ATHE, your role, what it is that you yourselves do.
Thanks, Martin. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Great to be here. My name is Jay, and I'll be talking to you about the qualification you'll hopefully be studying and a little bit more about ATHE, the provider of the qualification. So ATHE is an awarding organisation, which means that we are the body that is responsible for administering qualifications and assessments. A bit like you might have heard of Pearson or City and Guilds. We're one of those, basically, but we focus more specifically on functional business areas, so business and management, accounting, law, computing, and healthcare. Now, essentially, our qualifications are designed to be accessible to anyone, no matter their background or education or various life commitments, and are designed to give all learners the opportunity to progress in their careers and into higher education. So ATHE is based in the UK, but we actually operate with the same set of qualifications and practices in over 45 countries. And we're partnered with over 20 universities, both in the UK and worldwide, with confirmed progression routes, which means that learners are guaranteed to be able to study a degree with universities after completing an ATHE qualification. Sometimes to enter a university program and have a place guaranteed from the outset, sometimes to actually top up, i.e. just do the final year with the university. And that's reflected in our qualifications at different levels. So our qualifications range from level 3 to level 7, level 3 being the equivalent of an A level, and then levels 4 and 5, the equivalent of years 1 and 2 of a bachelor's degree, and then level 7 equivalent to the first year of a master's. And our qualifications slot neatly into those levels. I mean, in a way, I'm sure what you'll be thinking about at this stage of your career is what you're going to do next. And what's important to say is that vocational qualifications offer an alternative, maybe more flexible because of the way they can be studied, and cost-effective way than going to college and then university, potentially spending a lot of money and taking a lot of time in the process. So I think my message to you today is that there is a genuine alternative, and I'm very pleased to share with you this opportunity in front of you through studying this ATHE Level 3 in Business and Management with Pathway First. So ATHE have worked closely with Pathway First for a number of years. Pathway are actually one of our top learning centres in the UK, both in terms of popularity. Last year was the highest on record, and academic quality, so consistently achieving high quality outcomes. So you can be sure that you're in very capable hands at Pathway. ATHE's job in the background when you enroll on a program with Pathway is to register you as a learner and over time to monitor how things are going. So in particular to how you're being assessed. So it's the awarding organization's job to make sure that all learners are assessed appropriately and fairly at times. And one of the ways we make this more effective to enable good communication between ourselves, ATHE and Pathway as education partners. And this is represented in the outcomes at Pathway. So I'm going to share with you a little bit more about the qualification itself, the ATHE Level 3 in Business and Management. So the qualification has a single set of 7 mandatory business focus units. Mandatory means that you need to study all of the units. And the units have been formulated in this specific way to be most easily recognized and integrated into virtually any university program in business or alike. So these 7 units each have a number of credits attached. So what you'll do is you'll study each unit one at a time, and then each unit will contain a written assignment where you'll have to demonstrate what you've learnt and apply any experiences from your own career or examples from the world of business. So you'll basically be learning and then producing an assignment for each unit throughout the program. So as well as the course that Pathway provide, the qualification specifications, which are like the document that hold the qualification, so they contain really helpful guidance in terms of things you'll need to demonstrate that you've learned. So learning outcomes and assessment criteria, they'll go into the different components that you need to be aware of. And also crucially, reading lists. So these are really useful when you're actually studying to supplement your course. And these are very up to date, so very relevant material. You can download them from Google, or you can buy the books to help you with the course. And ATHE also has, as part of its learner support, a really helpful learner handbook. So this helps you understand things like how to write assignments, how to do referencing, and basically give you lots of ideas and support for your writing. So a little bit more about the structure of the qualification. So the Level 3 Diploma in Business and Management, 120 credits. It's designed to match the size required by all universities. So 120 credits is basically equivalent to 2 A levels. And it's graded, which means that if you want to achieve a merit or a distinction, you have specific exercises that you can choose to do to go above and beyond, really, to show what you're made of. As well as having revised and more relevant content, the new qualifications linked to something called our new study and employability skills standards, and offer more structured skills development opportunities. So basically, if you've been out of education for some time, or you don't regard it as your strong point, this helps you actually develop the skills as you're working through the qualification, so that you get to the level that you need to go into HE if that's what you want to do. And also the qualification is eligible for advanced learner loans, and I know that Aisha is going to explain a bit more about that later. And it also carries UCAS points, which is really helpful when you're, again, applying to university. So just looking at the more granular details here, one of the aspects that makes this qualification very flexible is actually its entry requirements. So it takes into account learners of all backgrounds, as well as GCSEs, the sort of standard route to the qualification. It actually recognises other types of qualifications, and it's not specific to a certain age group. So these qualifications, as I say, are accessible to anyone of any age, of any background. We've spoken about flexibility. What this really means is that you can study the qualification both online or face-to-face, whatever your centre's programme is designed to do, that's right for you. There aren't any exams, and so consequently, when you start and when you finish is more or less up to you, guided by your centre and your tutors. So when we talk about flexibility, this is what we mean. All in all, the qualification is very strong on business basics, while offering both opportunities for growth and development. So just a slide here to show you the UCAS points. and how they differ between the different grades. So pass, merit, and distinction will actually get you more UCAS points depending on what you go for. Now, just to show you some stats about ATHE and a bit more about who we are. So historically, we've had almost 50,000 learners registered on ATHE qualifications. And of those 48,000, 47,000 learners have certificated on qualifications. So it's a really high completion rate, which is a testament to how well suited our qualifications are to learners. In terms of the learners registered on the business level 3 suites, we're talking almost 12,000 learners, both in the UK and internationally. And a good solid number of learners in 2023 and looking to increase in 2024 as well. In terms of the learners, and these statistics are quite new, in terms of the learners that have that will progress to higher education, our research has found that 42% of level 3 learners will actually progress into higher education. And then, so just some more information about ATHE. We are a regulated awarding body, of course, so we're regulated by Ofqual and Qualifications Wales since 2011. And as I say, we have a large number of centres, both in the UK and internationally, as well as our regulated qualifications. We also have various qualifications in other areas, and we offer lots of different services. So just to finish up here, something that is important to talk about, we mentioned university partners and the 20 university partners that we have. Something we've done in the last 12 months is strengthen our partnerships with universities. And we now have something that's called guaranteed progression partners, which means that students that take ATHE qualifications are absolutely guaranteed a place on a bachelor's program or a master's program with our guaranteed partners. These include University of Bolton, University Canada West, obviously over the Atlantic in Canada, and University of Bangor. Now, the idea of these guaranteed progression routes is to give learners a little bit of everything. So to offer online programs for those looking for that flexible study to continue their studies online, and also the face-to-face option. And Bangor is a university that offer the face-to-face option. And so something we have upcoming is an event with Bangor University on Friday, the 4th of October. There's a QR code there at the bottom you can scan to register. Just a short webinar to really go over everything to do with our progression opportunity with Bangor, and to offer guidance and support for students looking to do that guaranteed route. So that's about it from me. Thank you very much for having me, and a great opportunity to talk to you. And of course, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those at the end of the webinar.
Brilliant, thank you, Joe. I actually think I've learned a few things more about the qualification and also ATHE, and it was good to see the use of the photo as well, where myself and Aisha and yourself met a few months ago now, wasn't it? You came down to see us in Birmingham, and it's great because it just sort of shows the partnership and that support that's there as well. And then for us, the exciting part, I know we've spoken a couple of times in regards to your relationship with Bangor University, these opportunities for guaranteed university placements as well. It sort of solidifies that opportunity for people to look at higher education, where they may have gone from school, college, not necessarily having the entry requirements they need, but actually the qualification then serves as that route for them to naturally take that step into higher education, which is fantastic. And it allows those sort of mature adults to sort of reconsider it later in life of what their steps are. So fantastic. And actually, I think this is where it complements your slides, sort of complement on my slides as well. But anybody, if you do have any questions, please do feel free to sort of put the questions. We will put some, as we sort of share out the recording as well, after there will be email address and things attached. Please do reach out to us. We are here to give that advice and support so you can make that right decision on how you sort of transition potentially into higher education, being that way anyway. So thank you very much, Jay. Very useful. And I'm sure everybody else will feel the same as well. So thank you.
Great stuff. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So sort of moving on through, I wanted to spend some time now to talk more about the qualification in depth. So Jay has done a great sort of introduction to the qualification and giving you the sort of the overview. But now it's to sort of put the sort of the nuts and bolts with it as a qualification. So the ATHE Level 3 Diploma in Business Management, it does exactly what it is on the tin. Really, it all revolves around that business management. But I wanted to take a few minutes just to go into with what that expected delivery it is really. So as Joe's already mentioned, it's a nationally recognised level 3 qualification. It is suitable for those individuals that are looking to pursue that career, but at the same time looking to what is that longer term in terms of sort of the vocational area, but also the academic route as well. For our programme, and we will go into this in a bit more detail, it's delivered over a 9-month period. Essentially, it's weekly online sort of lectures and assignments that are issued through each one of the units, which we'll take a look at in just a moment, has assignments that are attached to it, and it is where that you have to sort of complete them. Jay alluded to obviously sort of the marking criteria in terms of your past merit and distinctions, and they apply, and it's something that we revisit as we go through the qualification on a regular basis, because we understand some people always want to push themselves and exceed what those boundaries look like as well. And this is exactly what that qualification does for those individuals. So the structure of the course, and I'm not going to spend too much time sort of repeating, but it's those sort of key points. It is 120 credit value. It is that equivalence to those 2 A levels. It's that requirement to move into higher education. For the majority of universities out there, there are 7 mandatory units and there's 2 optional that we will take a look at. During the delivery of those 9 months, you will have lectures that are scheduled on a weekly basis, and that's something that as you sort of what it's like to ensure that you're able to attend and commit to it fully. During that time, you'll have assignments and you'll also have projects and activities that you're completing for that sort of practical application in terms of you've learnt this new knowledge and skills, or you find your understanding. How do you actually apply that in the workplace? These are all those sort of fundamental elements within the qualification structure and how we deliver it to individuals as well. So, as I mentioned, there are those 7 mandatory units within it. They've got a variety of titles, and just to sort of go through, and I'm not necessarily going to go through each one of them, but this information we will share around on email after today as well, along with the recording. So, for the likes of business environment, it is helping people develop that knowledge and understanding of the environments which organisations actually operate in. It's understanding the differences and the sort of the complex context as well in which those organisations sort of function. Things like the working in teams, it's developing that knowledge and understanding of teams and roles within those teams as well. It's an opportunity to also develop your employability skills and those leadership elements as well. Things such as the introduction to financial controls, it's understanding how to sort of complete the elements of understanding the development knowledge of budgets, controlling those costings, cash flow, those sort of basic ratio analysis. It's all those sort of fundamental elements that we see in business that we're sort of educating and supporting that knowledge development with. As I mentioned then, so those are the sort of the 7 mandatory units. There are then optional units. So there's a selection of units, and this is where our engagement officers will discuss with you what is the longer term, what is that career goal for yourself, and making sure that we're going down the correct route. So things like principles of sales and marketing, it's developing those understanding of what those principles are. When what's the difference between marketing and sales, gaining those skills to undertake a meaningful marketing activity, and also having the opportunity of applying those principles to some of the assignments and activities through the program as well. If you look at things like project management, it will be covering areas and developing that knowledge of those management skills, planning those business related activities, which ultimately can transition into any sort of working environment, because you find these are those fundamental basic business understandings that can apply to any of those sort of businesses, no matter the industry that we sort of move into or that yourselves move into. All these are giving you those foundation potentially then to move into a higher education route as well. As I say, we will share this information, so you'll have it for each one of those units to make that decision on which route is best suited. So the course delivery, as I mentioned, is a 9-month duration. It is those weekly lectures. We are looking to promote sort of group working, those independent assignments that you'll be working on as well, but also looking to give you those real world projects that you can sort of enhance your skills, because you can learn something and then apply it to sort of a situation. And really, for me, I'm more of one of those catholic learners where it's, you sort of learn by doing it. Sometimes having that theory knowledge that you can then apply sort of practically to those sort of situations as well. But we all work in and learning in different ways, obviously. As we sort of continue through, you'll have assessments and projects of these sort of assessments, the assignments that you'll be completing throughout. You'll have a selection of those for each one of the units that you're actually completing, and they're going to be focusing on that theoretical knowledge that you've completed. So it's attending those lectures, absorbing that information, completing that research and applying it to those assignments, and also those sort of group activities and projects as well. So really the onus is attending those lectures, doing the learning that is necessary and applying it to those situations. Those career opportunities, as Jay so well sort of articulated in terms of those progression into higher education, it is that stepping stone for individuals to move into higher education, whether it's the likes of progressing with a business degree. It can also be that entry route into management roles within various industries, but it could also be those skills that you develop can be very entrepreneurial and sort of business operations. So it means that you can apply them in a job role that you're in at the moment, a job role that you're looking for in the future, but ultimately helping you sort of progress and move forward within your career, planning from there. And if I can now, just to take a look at some of the impacts. I've got a couple of learners here. So Florida here, she originally sort of engaged with ourselves to look at, what are the opportunities. And sometimes people could be reluctant to move into sort of a new learning experience, whether it's from a bad experience from before or not knowing, quite what to do. But when working with Florida, what it was for her was sort of being able to gain a recognised qualification, ultimately to enhance her job prospects. But as she sort of working through, she's then boosted her skills and her confidence. She's benefited herself from that one-to-one support with the tutor, the learning resources that were provided. Jay alluded to the sort of the handbook, the information that is provided, and it's then giving them the information and also that regular communication. We're all of modern technology nowadays, where email is one thing, but WhatsApp and sort of those those applications that are more on our fingertips certainly being sort of preference of choice. Then she progressed into sort of business and entrepreneurship. So not necessarily a typical route and a route that everybody would go through, but looking at what that business and entrepreneurship was looking like for herself, which as she was sort of engaged with us, then it was then expanding her own ambitions. It shifted from sort of career improvement to actually further education and moving into that degree. So she's been able to use it as an enabler to allow her to move into higher education, ultimately her knowing that, yes, that is that progression route that she can go through. So actually learning then became that transformative and empowering experience for us. So something that people don't necessarily think of when they think, well, I'm going to inquire about a course or I'm going to enroll onto a new qualification. It is the fact of, that engagement, that excitement, those experiences with new individuals as well, that ignite within ourselves. We then have INAM. It was all about with INAM in terms of building that confidence and sort of business skills. So it's looking at, okay, how do I move into higher education and potentially setting up our own business? So it was a matter of building confidence and developing those business skills. The guidance that she received from the team, so not just the tutor, but from the wider team, and I'm sure Aisha would be a member of that team that sort of influence as well. Keeping her motivated and on track to achieve that qualification. education. It meant that quite recently she was able to achieve a dream of starting a cafe. So having that understanding of the market that she's operating in, the costings as well, has actually given the understanding, the confidence to then set up a business, and really crediting the opportunity of empowering her, actually with the engagement of ourselves, to actually pursue those goals, to take that next step, which, you know, to me is fantastic, and it's all part of why we do what we do, really. So, as I say, what we will look to do is to share that information around, and you'll have a copy of the slides and also the supporting notes in terms of what information, or what the outlays for each of those units, to ensure that you make the right decision when it comes to those next steps for you. What I would like to do now is to ask Aisha to join me on the stage and talk to us a bit about the Advanced Learner Loans. Now, with the Advanced Learner Loans, Aisha, I know you've been working with them for many years. For myself, I've been working with them for, well, I think the best part of 12 years now in terms of Advanced Learner Loans. And it really is that opportunity of people accessing, you know, that financial support for them to transition over into, you know, in some cases higher education, but for ourselves it's that further education. So Aisha, I will pass over to yourself. Thank you.
First of all, thank you, Jay and Martin, with your lovely presentation on business and management. All is good, but in terms of how do you fund the course, so I'll talk you through advanced loans, why is the funding behind advanced loans, and how you can progress on to further education and higher education. So with advanced loans, you will apply through SLC, which is a student-owned company, which will help you in terms of the costing of the course, and this is the course for pathway. In terms of eligibility, you don't have to worry in terms of what that eligibility is. Can I apply for a loan? Am I going to do any credit checks? What's the background history? So there's no credit checks involved. There's no income checks involved. It's just you just go on to the website of a student-owned company and just register there and apply for the course. In terms of repayment, I know the first question you must be thinking of, when do I repay this course? When does that come out of my pockets? So in terms of repayment, I will go through it in a couple of slides as well and break down the repayment method of that as well. So in terms of repayment, so the repayment amount will come out after you earn a certain threshold. So that threshold amount is 25,000 annually, yeah? And you will be charged interest on that as well after the payment has come to your college. Again, this is basically, Jay has covered that, Martin has covered this in terms of the qualification. The credit is 120, which I believe is the UCAS points as well. Price is 4,170 for the qualification, which is during the 9 months that you will be on program. GQT, so that's normally qualification, total qualification hours. That includes the teaching hours that you have and homework that will be assignments that you will do out of class as well. And the guided hours is more towards the class time that you have with your tutor. So what is advanced learner loans? So advanced learner loans is a loan that you take out that covers the cost of your course. There's no upfront payments required, so it won't be taken out from yourself. It will be funded through SLC directly. There won't be any credit checks on. It won't be depending on your income. So again, in terms of eligibility, to apply for the course and advanced learner loans, generically you have to be 19 plus, older, as soon as you start the course, and you have to be in the UK for at least 3 years. The course, to take advanced learner out, there are a variety of levels in terms of the level 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But this particular course, it's a level 3 that we are offering. Yeah, so again, like I said before, it's through advanced learner loans. So student finance, England, so you'll take a loan out through that, and that will be paid directly to your college. You can be borrowing, take a loan out, you can borrow up to a minimum of 300. So again, this will be, and obviously the next few slides in terms of breakdown of the repayment. The repayment amount, again, once you earn over the threshold of £25,000, you then have to do a monthly payment based on the income that you earn after that 25,000. And loans will be written off after 40 years if you don't never earn that threshold of. So this is basically going down into breakdown. If you earn, for example, £27,000 yearly, so that's £2,000 more than the threshold amount. It will be 9% off that £2,000, which is £180. And if you divide that by 12 months, which is around £15 a month, so it's not a lot amount that will be taken out from your pockets if you're earning more than that 25,000 threshold. Again, this is more in terms of if you're earning a higher amount, you do want to progress onto management for you, like I say, you don't want to, you do want to progress onto a career in management or progress onto a university. And this is basic income in terms of 30,000. And you can see the fact that, if you break it down per month, you'll earn about taking £37.50 out. And that's again so forth and so forth. So this presentation will be sent out to you guys as well, so you can go in terms of if you're earning more, 40,000, 45,000, how does that look like? What payment am I going to be making? And how's that going to look like in terms of your income and so forth. Bear in mind the fact that what Jay has mentioned in terms of the progression. So if you do have an ATHE qualification, you can then progress onto whether it is the Bangor University, whether it's Bolton University or any other university that Jay has in terms of partnerships. So you can progress onto that, and then this 4,170 amount that you are looking at repaying back, that will be eliminated. So you won't have to worry about that because it's the progression that you are looking to. So again, like I said, this just goes into more details in terms of what that is. So like I said, access to higher education. So that is where you will progress onto university. So level 4 qualifications, level 5 and level 6 qualifications that you will have to take advanced loans out. But this amount that you've taken now will be written off once you progress onto university. Whether it'll be through ATH University or any other university that you prefer. But like I said, if you want any more information in terms of what the higher education looks like, you can go on to that webinar that ATH mentioned, Jay mentioned, in terms of Bangor University on 4th of October. So this is in terms of education budget grant. So any learner that will do a check on this and will be based on individual cases when you're doing enrollment. So any learner that does not have a level 3 qualification can go on this education project grant. So we will look at in terms of what that is, so you won't have to take advanced loan out. You can look at other methods of funding this qualification. But this is prior for any learner that has not done a level 3 prior to them enrolling onto the course. So again, if you want more information, you can go on to this link here, or you can contact me directly, Martin directly, even Jay directly, and we will be more than happy to help you. So what happens next? So again, in terms of we've done this webinar, it's all pretty nice. What do I do next? So you'll be able to see at the bottom onboarding survey. So if you can click on that and just fill in your details, well, then one of our team will come and contact you and get you signed up ready for the course. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Aisha. Very useful, and it's always refreshing to hear a bit more about sort of advanced learners. As I say, I know I've been involved with them for many, many years, and to know that they essentially don't change is that key part. But I do know in a few years' time there is those sort of changes that come through. And now it is just to sort of conclude and to sort of say thank you really to obviously Jay, Aisha, for your input and sort of contributions today in our building business foundations into higher education. Hopefully for those that attended live and those sort of after the events as well have picked up a better understanding of what the requirements are for the qualification, and also what those benefits are at the same time. So for myself, Jay, thank you. Aisha, thank you very much for your time. I know putting the slides and the information and sometimes, you know, that 5-10 minutes before the webinar starts, it's those nerves start kicking in. But I think you did very well, articulated the benefits of those qualifications and obviously the advanced learner loan, fantastic as well. So thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we do it again in the very near future as well.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody, and best of luck to anyone applying.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your